Alex Collier General Lecture -2001. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. It is a beautiful day, it is Saturday, and I am sure that you have a lot going on in your lives. Thank you again for coming. It has been a couple of years since I have done one of these. I am a little rusty, so please bear with me. I would like to with a blessing if it is all right with you. Isness, Great Spirit, we give thanks to all that have gathered here in the physical and in the spirit. We ask for guidance and wisdom as we are all seeking the truth. I ask that the information shared here today inspires these people to go forward with power and direction to teach the path of freedom and peace. Oh, do we have any first-timers here at a UFO lecture? 1. Okay, so I can get right into it. If anyone needs any background information, you can go to the website lettersfromandromeda.com. Most of you are paying attention to current events and what is going on in the world. There is clearly a process of speeding up for a global government, consolidation of power control, and the elimination of individual rights. Even if you are not paying attention, you are seeing these happen anyway. There are a lot of reasons for it, and that is why I have been asked to come back and speak again. I am going to give you some new information and a brief review of some other things. Especially the hierarchy and exactly what it is we are looking at. A lot of you that have been paying attention to the information know that we as a planetary race on Earth have a lot of problems not only with each other, but also with our created governments and also the unseen government that seems to be controlling and manipulating everything from behind the scene. This in fact is a reality. There are some incredible things happening. The release of information by Dr. Stephen Greer is trying to put out on the Disclosure Project, website www.disclosureproject.org. Tremendous information where we have government, military, and intelligence witnesses coming forward and saying that everything that we told you was BS for the last 50 years was in fact true. The fact that there are UFOs, ETs, visitations, wreckage, technology, and reversed engineered technology. So, this gives a lot of us here that have been trying to tell our friends, family, and neighbors some credibility. The witnesses are incredible. These are people who are risking an awful to come forward and tell us what they know. There is a reason I feel that they are doing this. They have seen world events and they themselves are concerned about what is going on. The bottom line here is, self-rule. Will we in fact have self-rule? Will we in fact remain free? Will we have control of our lives and our home, which is planet Earth? That is yet to be determined, the outcome of that. September 11, 2001, let's just get right into that. I do not have any specific information about single quote 9-11. I witnessed what all of you witnessed. I heard all the stories that the Mossad had told the FBI and the CIA that weeks prior that it would probably happen. I've also heard the story of an Iranian military defector who 7 days prior to the event, specifically told the FBI that planes were going to be hijacked and flown into the WTC. If that is in fact true, then the FBI blew it off because it did happen. So, I have heard all the stories. What is interesting is that here are some guys with box cutters that hijack planes. At the same time, our government is trying to take our guns away as if that was going to stop the hijackers. They're using this event to control and consolidate the power. Why are they doing that? Why is the government being pressured to take away all the rights of the individual? There is a happy ending to this, hopefully. We'll get into that. You also know that the euro-dollar has come into effect. It is their hope and design to exactly compete against the Federal Reserve note. It won't really be that hard because the euro-dollar is backed by gold, or at least a portion of it is. We'll get into that a little bit later. Our economy, the government says that it is turning around and that we should see it by this spring. Who know what is really going to happen? We do know that there are going to be a lot of playoffs. Many folks are concerned about that as well. It is going to add more stress and pressure to everyday life. It also takes our focus off some of the everyday things that are going on around and in the world. Israel, the Middle East, and the solar system is what I want to talk about. What I am going to do here is that my intuition is telling me to follow exactly what is in my outline. What I am going to do is start with the solar system and work my way back to Earth. Our solar system is extremely crowded now. There are ships from 31 different planetary races here. Also, Nibiru is on its way back into the solar system. Many of the mother ships are already here and have been here, primarily around Saturn. The Nibiruan race, or rather the tribe of Nibiru, which is exactly what it is, asked the Andromedan Council for permission to enter the solar system to gather mining equipment that they left here when they vacated this area 5,200 years ago. The Andromedan Council agreed to it. The Council agreed to let them back in but not to have direct contact with the Earth. I will tell you honestly that the Andromedans absolutely do not trust the Nibiruans because of what they did the last time they were here, the genetic manipulation, the pole shift, trying to drown everybody, the division of the races, the creating of different languages, and creating the four of many different religions on the planet that we used to separate us. They are a classic Orion paradigm, divide and conquer. I know that there are people out there that have an opposing view. I don't know what to tell you. You'll just have to trust your instincts. I'm just delivering the message. The Andromedans do not trust them at all, as well as many of the other races as well. Back in 1995, in the solar system of Perseus, a planet that goes by the name, if you were to translate from Andromedan to our language, of (Tiik) pronounced, Tiik. It is a water planet in the solar system of Perseus. It experienced a pole shift. During the pole shift, 1.3 billion of its people on the planet drowned. There were 719,000 survivors. Orion Council craft asked permission from the Andromedan Council to assist them and permission was granted. The Orion Council craft went in and enslaved the people. Many people on the Andromedan believed that the Orion Council did that because of what happened in our solar system and in 21 other solar systems. The Andromedan Council has specifically intervened. Do you follow me so far? I know that you know this, but I just want to reiterate more of this. There is an ideological battle going on in our galaxy. It has been for some time. It just isn't our love and life. I wish it was. If it was, I would be the first to stand up here that it is, but it isn't. No matter how people shout at the rain, they are not here to hurt us, but some of them are. They may have 2,500 years more advanced technology, but in their heads and hearts, they are more retarded than we are. I still do not understand why some races chose the model, power over other races and other people. Power over is a societal paradigm. The elite, the hierarchy, the government of a particular race or planet has to have control of people. We have that here on Earth. We live exactly under the same model, power over, especially in Europe, the Soviet Union, China, take your pick. It is all a power over model, just in varying degrees. The consolidation of the power over model that we are seeing now is called the New World Order. It is on the fast track now. It is on the fast track big time because Nibiru is entering our solar system. We are going to do some history here. I am going to skip around and come back. America was never supposed to happen. The United States was never supposed to happen. The idea that citizens could rule themselves, create their own self-government, and self-rule was never supposed to happen. The ruling elite, the royal families of Europe were never supposed to lose control. They were left specific mechanisms to have control of the world. If you've read David Icke and some of the others out there, you know who many of the royal families are in Europe and the world, which includes the Saudis. They all come from genetic ET lines. Blue bloods, are what we call them on Earth. They are in fact, half-breeds. When Nibiru was here, many of the sons and daughters played with mankind. We were their pawns and toys. There were incestuous relationships. They took the women. They used the women. They impregnated the women and left offspring. When they had to leave the solar system for a time, they could not take the offspring because they were considered half-breeds. They never would have been allowed to take them back. They were left here. They were left here with special mechanisms to control the populace, division of languages, the creation of religions, priesthoods, creation of a monetary system, which even Nibiru doesn't even use. It was put into place as a mechanism to control the populace and it worked. I want you to know that this is all an Orion paradigm. The Orions basically perfected the technique. I am going to give you the Cliff Notes version of the races. Because of what I am trying to do is to put together a lecture series in the next couple of months called AC39. These are some of the lectures that I have wanted to do for the last 10 years. What we will deal with each week is 2 or 3 of the races. Out of those lectures we will get a complete history of why we have different skins. Why we have different races. Who the races were that fathered those races, those genetic lines, and the body types. There are 22 different specific body types on Earth today. It is directly related to those ET races that came here, used the Earth as an outpost and moved on. Again, That was just the Cliff Notes version. I'm not going to go through an awful lot tonight. I only have 2 hours. Back to America again. As I said, America was not supposed to happen, but it did. The ruling elite in Europe had to figure out a way to rein back control of the planet. America changed everything in the beginning. America changed everything. America changed the consciousness of the people not only here, but also in Europe, Asia, and everywhere. The people then realized that they did not have to live under a king, queen, or dictatorship. We can be free and govern ourselves. Everybody tried to get to America. It has taken 226 years to get the royal families and the blue bloods to reign and control again, global control. They absolutely have it now with the exception of one thing. That one thing is really the last breath that we have at this point that we are still holding on to. It all started with the Federal Reserve, the creation of money. If you have done your research, you know that the banks of Europe own the Federal Reserve. They own the debt that the United States has. They are calling in their markers. America, which created freedom, is real danger. They are doing this now because Nibiru is re-entering the solar system. You have to understand that this all revolves around Nibiru. The royal families all have a direct lineage with Nibiru and Orion. They were the ones left in charge. This may not be what you want to hear. This may be hard for some of you to comprehend the global scope and the mechanisms involved in this. If you could take yourselves out of your daily life and look at the operations that are going on around the planet. The consolidation of all the wealth is at the top. How are the royal families of Europe doing this? The royal families of Europe created something called the Heritage Trust. I have personal experience with this. I spent a month with a friend of mine in Zurich, Switzerland. He was trying to do some business there and we kept running into this thing called the Heritage Trust. It is owned by the royal families of Europe. The royal families of Europe have this Heritage Trust, which is a trade program where basically have to be invited to get into it. Private individuals can put into it anywhere from $50 billion to $100 billion. That money is then rolled over many times. That money is then loaned to the government. It is not real money. It doesn't really exist at all. They have created all this money and loaned it to governments all over the world. Every government is in debt except Switzerland, everyone. This is where they borrow their money from, the Heritage Trust. This is one of the biggest mechanisms. We are in debt to those individual bankers. They now have control and say what is going on over here. This is backed by the royal families of Europe and the royal family of Saudi Arabia. They are the only exception. With the exception of Saudi Arabia, the royal families of Europe are the same wealthiest royal families of the old Roman Empire. That is important to know when you decide to do some research. For instance, the Habsburgs. Why has everything been spelled out? For those of you that have read the Andromedan's information on some of the literature that I gave you 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that. On March 21, 1993, a color/sound frequency began emanating out of the black holes. This was scientifically documented. This had been the first time anything had been seen coming out of the black holes. It was always believed that everything that went into black holes was crushed, pulverized, annihilated, and never came out. The Hubble telescope, the telescopes in Europe, the Russians, and satellites all picked up something emanating from the black holes. This was a color/sound frequency. According to the Andromedans, this is a holographic imprint that is being spread over the entire universe. Just for clarification, a galaxy is not a universe. A galaxy is a collection of stars that rotate together. According to the Andromedans, there are over 100 trillion galaxies in the known universe. The entire universe, according to their knowledge, has not even been explored. That is what they do know that has been mapped and charted. What is happening is that this color/sound frequency is literally a hologram. It is creating a holographic imprint over all the known densities inside our universe. It is literally elevating the frequencies of the known universe. According to the Andromedans, December 13, 2013, the frequency that we know as third density is due to implode. Everything that is on third density is going to have to make a choice. Either evolve to a higher frequency or be moved out of this frequency to someplace else and start over to begin to evolve again. There are some very interesting things going on. For example, scientists and in particular the Russians are talking about this. The atmospheres of all the planets in our solar system, which is what we have the closest access to, are all changing. The atmospheres and energy fields are all increasing. The fields around our solar system is dramatically increasing and filling with plasma. The sun's frequency has increased 230%. Our sun has already gone through a magnetic pole shift changing its frequency. Neptune and Uranus have already gone through a pole shift changing their frequencies to match the sun. It appears that the frequencies are changing from the outside and moving in. In other words, it is going out and circling back in. This information will be posted on the website very soon, hopefully within the next few days. What is happening is that the vibratory frequency of everything in the universe is changing. My concern, of course, is our solar system and this. Our frequency is changing. This has tremendous ramifications for us. The ramifications are profound, to say the least. We are going to have to learn to move with the frequency, or rather, evolve into it. We'll need to release our own negativity, or whatever it is we are holding on to. The power over relationships, the power over models are going to cause us to self-implode. I don't mean that we are going to spontaneous combust. What I do mean is that we are going to get more and more unhappy, more and more frustrated, more and more stressed fighting the flow of the earth. According to the Andromedans, within the next 3 weeks, there is a high probability that the wall of fire in the Pacific Ocean is going to move. It is going to cause the planet to quake and really shake things up. It will be the beginning of all the earth changes. We could be looking at it within the next 3 weeks. The earth is now beginning to absorb all this energy. The earth has been holding on to the detonations of nuclear weapons, pollution, everything that we have done, and everything that we are holding on to. Now, the earth has to release all this because she has no choice. The frequencies are changing. Everything is changing. Volcanoes are all reawakening. Volcanoes are reawakening on all planets in the solar system, including some moons where absolutely no activity was ever recorded. Everything is starting to wake up. It is happening everywhere. The royal families that are here are stuck in the paradigm of control over. They only know who they are when they are controlling others. They simply are not capable of letting go and letting us live our lives. They are not capable of giving us our freedom that we not only deserve, but have an absolute right to. That is their paradigm. It also looks like that they are not likely to change that paradigm. It also looks like many of the people on Earth are not going to want to take responsibility for themselves either. They have completely forgotten how to think for themselves. The educational system has done a remarkable job of dumbing everyone down so they can't think for themselves. I have given up trying to save the planet, I absolutely have. So now, I am hoping to get 10%. That is my goal, which is the reason that I have decided to go out and start talking again. No matter how many hits I take. We have to get 10% in order to make the shift here. The world and some of its current situations, the world economic situation, I'm sure you know that it is all being manipulated. There are powers that want to create strife and more stress. They want to eliminate specific populations, which is why they are focusing on the creation of World War III. Chemical tails in the sky, many of you are already aware of the situation and what is going on out there. I do not have a specific answer for the chemtrails. However, there are some schools of thought though. One is that the military and the governments are spraying particles in the air with the hopes of trying to slow down this frequency shift. There are others that are saying that it is biological and that is to tear everyone down to make us sick. I can see the logic and results in both. I honestly don't know what the story is there. I do know that there is chemtrail spraying everywhere in the world and that there are a lot of sick people. You can make up your minds or until we all know what is going on there. Terrorism is not finished in the United States according to the Andromedans. This was posted over a year ago, that 2 nukes would go off in the United States. I don't know if any will go off in Israel or Europe. They were pretty specific that 2 would go off in the United States. There are some probabilities. You can go to the website for that. I personally don't want it to happen. We do not have a government, for the people, of the people, and by the people. We don't. It is important for those of you that do not know of the disclosure project that Dr. Collier started. You can get your hand on the tapes, videos, DVDs, and other materials. You can read the testimonials from the witnesses. Even some of the stuff that Dr. Collier said in conversations with the witnesses, because they are telling you that this is absolutely coming down and that there is nothing that we can do about it. The technology that has been recovered is being suppressed. It is being withheld by agencies within and outside the government. The technology is being withheld by private corporations. These private corporations are all being controlled with money. If you follow the money, All roads lead to the royal families of Europe and the Heritage Trust. They all do. They are the only ones that can create money in the world. They create the money. What can you do about it? It is extremely frustrating because all we want to do is live our lives in happiness and peace. We want to raise our kids and see our grandchildren. We all want those things. I am no different. We have an opportunity to do that, but it isn't business as usual. It gives me no pleasure to come out every 2 years and tell you all this. It is a real burden for me to have to do this. Can't we turn things around? Absolutely. The only way is for people to know what is really going on. Who is really doing what? Why are they specifically doing it? This is not a problem specifically isolated only to Earth. It is going on in a lot of different places. This could be going on in a lot of different galaxies. I don't have all the information. I don't know if the Andromedans themselves even have that information. I can't concern myself with that. I can only concern myself with my home and your home, which is planet Earth. A lot of intervention has already occurred. The real truth is, how to predict what 98% of the Earth's population is going to do if motherships suddenly appear in the sky. 98% of the population have been programmed and manipulated to believe that we are the center of the universe and that the God of the entire universe only made us. That if you believe in UFOs you are mentally unstable and that there is life in other worlds you are a crackpot. How do you convince them? We have a breakthrough, and that is the information from the Disclosure Project. A real breakthrough, it really is. People who thought that this was lunacy and science fiction are now taking it very seriously because of the credibility of the witnesses. It is in essence, the smoking gun. We need to build on that, use the tools, and spread the word. Try to get people to stop thinking in tunnel vision. Try to get people to stop thinking in the single quote 9 to 5, 60 Minutes, and The Simpsons. We have to get them out of the box somehow, because we need 10% of the population. We have to get 10% or we are going to have real serious problems here, very serious. I'm encouraging you to do some more investigating. Use the tools. Get your hands on them. Tell your friends about them. Send single quote emails, put in links. Get people to go there and try to debunk that information. They can. That is important because time is short. We have to move these people in baby steps. At the same time you are going to have to push them a little. You'll have to ask them, did you see it? Did you listen to it? Did you read it? Did you pass it on? We have to do something. We have to do something because this is the most important issue that we are going to have to deal with in this lifetime, and it is coming right down our throats. The Mayan calendar ends in 2012. Many other calendars end in 2012. The pyramidal geometry ends in 2012. Everything is pointing to that. Folks, that is only 10 years. That means a very significant shift in the way we live, who we are, how we identify ourselves, and whatever our places is or is going to be is going to change in 10 years. As much as I know, I don't feel that I'm ready. That's because I don't know exactly what is happening, what is coming, and what it is going to look like on the other side. I bet all of you would probably feel the same way. 98% have no clue of what is coming, absolutely, no clue. The scary part is that 90% don't care. They just don't care. If 90% don't care, that's great. I'm interested in the 10% that do. All of you have so much knowledge, experience, and wisdom. It is absolutely imperative that you share it. Now is really the time to share it and to teach others. To figure out ways, and I don't want to use the words manipulate or trick, into investigating the idea that there is a hell of a lot more to us than what we have been taught. I know there is the old adage, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make him drink. We have to figure out a way to at least lead them to the water. At least get them to the water fountain. Get them to the lake so that they can at least make some sort of decision at that point. They have at least made a decision. We have then done all we can do. If the Andromedans are right and within the 3 weeks the Ring of Fire moves and creates a planetary quake, that should be a huge signal. If Dr. Collier is successful in implementing his plan of getting his information to the masses, not only in the United States and Europe, but the world, people that see this information are going to take a step back and say, wait a minute, for the last 50 years we have been told that this is all BS. What they are going to do is to seek people like each of you, who have some knowledge in this, who have been researching this, who haven't bought the party line, who aren't crackpots and lunatics. They are going to seek you out and want to know information. They will want you to tell them about this. Is it true? Who are they? Where can I get more information? Because as the frequency changes and increases, cellular and ancestral memory that we all have in our DNA is going to start bringing things up for all of us. To some of you, it has probably already happened. You are fully aware of some of your past lives, your incarnated past, your off-world existences, and how you got to Earth. It is imperative that as governments collapse, the world governments take over and start to suppress everyone, which is what its plan is. Most of you already know this. The people are going to want answers. They are going to start looking for leadership. Some of us may not want that responsibility, and I can totally appreciate that. They are going to want answers and where to go for information. At that point, what we need to do is for all of us to be prepared. Share the information. Share the wisdom that we have. Share the knowledge. Point them in the direction that will self-empower them. Because that is what this is all about, self-empowerment. I think the original model for Earth is not what it has become. It has become a zoo, it really has. There are so many great beings here, on and in the surface. We all deserve our shot at freedom and making our own decisions. The frequency change is in fact happening. The scientific data is coming that proves it. I really want you to be aware of what that means. As it increases, your thoughts are going to manifest faster and faster and faster. What it is that you desire. Whatever your intention is will be created. Like Yoda said, your focus determines your reality. It doesn't get any simpler than that. It is an absolute fact of spirit and law. Your thoughts create. The reason I am so concerned is because we have all this media mechanisms in place telling everybody something different. They want to suppress and create more fear. They want to disempower people into not making decisions for themselves. They don't want people to take control and own their lives, or even think of the idea of creating their own lives. These are our neighbors, friends, and family that fit this model perfectly. If I didn't care, I would just say, the hell with you. But I do care. I've got children, you've got children, and you have grandchildren. This affects everybody. This is why it is really important to take a step back and look at all the information that is out there and grasp exactly what is happening. So when things do happen, you know what to do to stay a step ahead. Because folks, we need 10% of the population. Question from an audience member: why is that so important? Answer: 10% will cause a shift in the other 90%. Why that law is a specific reality, I don't know, but it has been drilled into me. In the 80 seconds we were at 8%. To my understanding, we are now at 6%. America wasn't supposed to happen. The idea of self-rule wasn't supposed to be here on Earth. That was not the model. It wasn't part of the mechanism that was left here when the Nibiruans took off from here 5,200 years ago. If America doesn't survive, where's freedom going to be? America, for all its faults, and it has plenty, in its original intent, the United States, the Republic, was to allow self-rule and break from the monarchy in England. It was to allow people to live their lives and become everything they wanted to be. It was an idea that everyone on the planet, regardless of color, faith, size, or anything, had value and has value. This was the model. Everyone had value. If you had value, you were given the right and still have the right to become everything that you could be, to contribute to the planet Earth society. America went wrong in a lot of ways: the genocide of the Native American Indians and slavery. America did import slavery, but it also ended slavery. There are a lot of countries where slavery still exists, like Somalia and some of the other African nations, which is horrible. But just look at what is going on. Our lives are absolutely controlled by money. We can do nothing without money. You can't even own your own property. You have to pay taxes or it will get taken back. You are actually only renting it after paying on it for 35 years. You don't own it. So, who really does own the property? It is owned by those who create the money. It all points to the royal families of Europe and the Heritage Trust. They are the direct lineages of the Nibiruans. Those of you who are not familiar with this word, just type in the word, Nibira, and you will come up with all kinds of information. Zacharias Sitchin has written several books. There are other resources also, like the British Museum. There are all kinds of resources available. They are coming back. They are on their way here. They have a very large presence here already. Whether or not they will be allowed to suppress mankind in the solar system completely remains to be seen. What we do know for a fact, folks, is the mechanisms are being put into place to destroy the United States and take away our individual freedoms and create a world government that we didn't elect. It is being shut down on all fronts. It is being shoved down our throats. We have a frequency shift that is coming where we will predetermine ourselves based on what our understanding is as to what we are going to create and what kind of life we'll have. Am I being clear enough or am I not? Good. I want to now focus on things that we can do. I wish I never had to deal with it. I wish that someone else could deal with it. It is time to make a conscious effort, and I am not just talking to you here. I am talking to myself as well. It is time to make a conscious effort that no matter what relationship we have, that we share our strengths and not our weaknesses. We really need to start honing in on our strengths and building on those. Our intent is going to create our future. It has been all along. This new frequency that is in fact coming, it is now paramount because your intent to create, your visions that you project into it. Creative thought is going to pull the to you quicker and quicker because we are the creator. We are not natural resources. We are not an accident from some pool 45 million years ago. It just didn't happen like that. In fact, it has never happened like that. It is also important as people begin to step out of their day-to-day life because it isn't working. Everything they tried, all the rules that they've lived by, everything they've done right according to societal structure, the government, the IRS, and they are still getting screwed. They are going to step out of this paradigm of reality and they are going to want to know why it isn't working. They are going to want answers. The late Bill Cooper said 15 years ago that if you put the ETs in the middle, you begin to see the pieces of the puzzle. It is a fact and absolute fact. They do exist. When we went to the moon, we were the ETs. When the Soviet, British, and American governments put bases on Mars in the early 60s, we were the ETs. But now, it is all coming back home whether we like it or not. Whether we like our neighbors, our families, we are in effect all one family. We all have a relationship, not only with them, but with Earth also. We are all in this together no matter what bottom line you choose to do here, whether you decide to do anything or do nothing. In the end, we are all fighting for each other. We are all dependent on each other. I want to be able to help pick you up. At the same time, if I fall down, I want to know that someone is going to throw me a hand or an arm to help pick me up. Especially when I want to get back up and maybe I'm just too tired, too confused, or too overwhelmed. Or maybe one of your friends is also just too overwhelmed to deal with it. Folks, we are all coming to a crossroads. That is where humanity is coming to. It is coming very quickly. It could be here as early as 2005, where we all hit the wall. All of us on the planet hit the wall with environmental issues, with a frequency change, the collapse of governments, world wars, and the ET presence with the announcement that we have never been alone. That is going to be hard for a lot of folks to deal with. It has not been part of their reality at all. There is going to be a lot of betrayals that people are going to need to move through. That is going to be a very tough issue. Why is it that everything that we have been told is a lie? It is going to be a very tough issue for Christianity. Why the Roman Catholic Church has hidden all this knowledge for over 1,000 years. They are going to be dealing with betrayal. They are going to want some answers. They are going to want to know if Christ is really going to save me. It is a legitimate question. Is God really going to come and save me? What God, I ask? The gods in the Bible were ETs flying around in spaceships. Are those gods coming to come down here and save me? These are all legitimate questions. They are all going to want answers. I don't want to burden this crowd with going out and collecting the other 10%. I never know where this information is going to go. I just have to pretend that I am talking to the whole world or the 10%. That's the best that I can do. There are things that we need to do. I have some ideas, and you will probably have some. Create a website where we put all of the wisdom and knowledge that we have regarding these specific issues and ways to deal with things that are coming up. For instance, if the government were to come out tomorrow and introduce an ET, say they introduce a DAO, or what we know as a Gray, on national TV and say, they are here to help us, they are our friends, and they have been here for thousands of years helping us. What we have then is a population saying, oh my God, an alien, an ET. Where did he come from? How did he get here? Well, he came 23,000 light years in his spaceship. You then have all these people that have been abducted saying, what do you mean they are here to help us? This is not as far-fetched as you think. Where are all these people going to go? Are they going to go to their psychologists? They are just going to put them on Ritalin and tell them to calm down, calm down. Laughter from audience. The psychologists won't have any answers, just more prescriptions, and come back in a month when he has answers. Meanwhile, the shrink is going to be on Ritalin himself because he doesn't have any answers. More audience laughter. Unfortunately, it looks as though it is going to fall back on us who have been researching this, who have been experienced, who have done the inner work, to look at these probabilities, who learned how to cope with these questions, and to try to synthesize these realities into our day-to-day life. We are the ones that are going to have to come forward and start talking. I'm talking about all of you here. You are going to be the ones up here on stage like me someday. You are, whether it is in your home, your neighbor's home, or their finished basement. Somewhere sometime you are going to find yourself talking to a crowd of people, whether it is family or neighbors. I want to start preparing you for that because it is coming. Some of you might be at Bronco Stadium talking to 50,000 people, like Mike, because he has the balls to do it. Much audience laughter. I want you to start thinking about what it is that you're going to do. How you can address these things. Sam Donaldson of App News made the prediction that 2002 would be the year that the truth about UFOs and ET's single quote would come out. Let me take a hypothetical stage right. Let's say the government does come clean, which is hard to believe, but let's say they do come clean. Audience laughter. Let's say that Drive Greer is successful in getting more of this into the consciousness of the people all over the planet. Things happen that people demand answers, and the government does confess. What is that going to do to religion? What is that going to do to a lot of people who believe in God? What is that going to do to people who are devil worshippers? Devil worshippers believe in the devil Satan, a big reptilian with a long tail and a pitchfork, which happens to be a real race of beings that fly around in huge motherships. They are incredibly advanced in technology. They just aren't someone you want to have over for dinner. Audience laughter. Kids that are entering school, watching science fiction, they are our hope for the future. They are still open-minded. They still have an imagination that they're using that is intact. A lot of adults don't have an imagination anymore. They sit in front of the idiot box and basically say, feed me, feed my what I am supposed to think, tell me what I am supposed to say. Children still have an imagination. They imagine possibilities. They can still pretend play. Pretend play is a good thing because it allows them to integrate different scenarios. Many of our friends have lost that ability. What do we do? What is going to happen to our friends and neighbors when these things happen in the next few years? We have to be prepared, we do. I know you want to help because you have the answers, or else you would not have been on this path. All the years that you have wanted to know, wanting to research, wanting to row upstream with one paddle to get this information, paying the $5, $10, and $15 to hear all these crazy people talk about all this crazy stuff, and to have your families say, you're nuts, you're crazy, I don't want to hear it. Well folks, it hasn't been for naught. The chickens are coming home to roost. In fact, the chickens are lining up. Some of the ideas that I have are that I am going to try and put together some resources. Whereas we can then take the knowledge, experience, and wisdom that we all have, not just you here, but those that see this video or wherever this information goes, so that we can collect the data. That way whenever someone has a question, or people begin to realize that we're not alone, that there has been a manipulation going on for 1,000 seconds of years, that religions have been put in place as a mechanism to specifically to divide the people and make them war with each other over something that we all are hoping for anyway, family, God, all that. The people are going to want answers. Again, the purpose of all this focus and knowledge and wisdom is to go after the 10%. That has to be the goal, to try and get 10% of the populace. I don't think that it is really that hard, I really don't. I just think that we have to focus our resources, our knowledge, and our wisdom to narrow it down so that the people can go somewhere to get information. The book of Revelations is going to be played out. They are going to play it out. The powers that be in the world are going to play it out. What I am going to do is to take a step out of where I just was and become one of the royal families and play out the reasons. This isn't easy for me. Let's say that I have control of humanity and that I can't stand you anymore. I can't stand them. They are idiots and useless eaters. You all should recognize these statements because Henry Kissinger said them. We are useless eaters. This would be a great planet, but I don't want to share free energy with useless eaters. I don't want to give our natural resources that we own. I don't want to give away any more free food. I don't want to do anything because I can't stand these people. I don't like the blacks. I don't like the Puerto Ricans. I don't like the whites. I can't stand the French. Why bother? Let's just collect a few people and start over. Let's just get rid of humanity. Let's just start over with a few hand-picked population centers. Any of this sound familiar to any of you? You've read the Sumerian tablets. This has happened once already. Specifically, this is the exact same scenario, and we are talking about the same bloodlines. Except now, there are 6 billion people on the planet as opposed to 400 million men. They have the technology to do it. They have biochemical warfare. They have jets and satellites. They have all the technology they need in order to do it. It won't affect them. It will affect us, because we are the useless eaters. What we are talking about is a very small group of people who want to do this, so they are going to play it out. They can pick and choose whom they want. They choose who lives and who doesn't. This is their model. They are not us. They really are not us. They have not been raised as part of humanity. They have not been raised to see humanity as a family. They just haven't and never will. Humanity is to stand up as a family and say, enough is enough. So, how am I going to start World War III? That would be easy. Let's blow some nukes. Let's spread some bioterrorism everywhere. Let's have some UFOs flying through the sky that the government built spraying. Has this ever happened? Have UFOs ever been seen flying over cities and countries? Suddenly, within days, there are plagues everywhere. Has this ever happened before? It has in fact been documented in Europe, the bubonic plague. UFOs, flying shields, clouds that lit up at night dropping something powder-like. Suddenly within days, plague everywhere. 30 to 40 million people died. It has happened before and it is documented. You just aren't going to read about it in your 5th grade textbooks. It is still there in the museums and paintings in Europe. The book, The Gods of Eden, by William Bramley, is an excellent book in this regard because he documents those things that have happened before. Folks, we are right there again. It could easily even happen again, if it does, and I don't want it to happen, but if it does, people are going to want answers. Again, it is going to come back to us. Your paths have brought you to a place where you now have a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and experience. Many of you have experiences of some sort. You have no questions about the reality of ETs. Many of you have done other things. Many of you have had out-of-body experiences. Whatever your story is, you have wisdom. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. Just knowledge without experience is a very, very dangerous, and that is what most of humanity is. They have knowledge but no experience. You need the two in order to have wisdom, to know what to do, where to go, when to move and not move, and when to say and not say something. There is no substitute for experience. This is even more important because we are all moving into leadership roles. We need to value the words we say. This is never going to be more important than in the next few years. If you do not value your words, then you will not have any value to people looking for answers. Another way to say it is, walk the talk. It is definitely time to prepare yourselves. To prepare yourselves by doing some more inner work, to finish up some healing. We all have issues. Get through whatever those issues are and move into a place of leadership. I once asked Vicious of the definition of what was going to happen to our race on Earth. He said that he couldn't tell me because there were just too many probabilities. But he did give me a definition, and I said, what is to become of us? He then gave this definition, a definition of what freedom really is. It has taken me a long time to really grasp every aspect of this. Responsible freedom, this is what he said would be the outcome of our race. His definition: responsible freedom of self-determination, becoming truly self-confident and free. To unconditionally be responsible for oneself without being coerced to accept some higher authority. Interesting word he used, without being coerced. Now, those of you who are against research, have you ever felt coerced a lot in your life? I have. Another factor that comes up with people waking up to this knowledge of the hierarchy, the loss of freedom, is anger. What are we going to do with all the energies that surface as anger, when many of the perceived realities are busted open and washed away? Anger is an incredible energy if it can be harnessed for good. We need to think of ways to help people take anger and channel it in a good way. We need to maybe put something in place or have suggestions of mechanisms to put in place. So, When things do come out, we can harness that anger and turn it into something that will help us all, as opposed to standing around and watching them lash out, destroying cities, governments, and destroying each other. Just like the Arabs and the Jews are doing in the Middle East now. It is absolutely ridiculous what is going on there. There is no logical reason for the hatred that they have for each other, but they do. That anger is not being channeled in any other direction. I honestly don't know what is going to happen there. I will tell you this, the Nibiru will never let the state of Israel to be destroyed. The Andromedans have said that explicitly. The Nibiruans approached the Andromedan Council and told them that specifically. Why does everyone want Jerusalem? I have never been there. I have flown over it, but I have never actually been there. It doesn't look all that exciting to me. It's not like our Rocky Mountain National Park. What is interesting is what is underneath Jerusalem. Underneath Jerusalem are devices built to control the Earth's grid system. Some of those in the Israeli government know that it is there, but not all. I would guess that there are other groups that know that it is there. This technology was built over 20,000 years ago at that specific location. It is approximately 1 mile under Jerusalem. It controls the Earth's grid system. So, maybe some of you scientific-minded folks can think about that, and we'll address that at another time. The power over model is prevalent everywhere in dealing with responsibility. What is important is that we move people, our friends, neighbors, family, and whoever moves into our path into mutual power. Power over becomes a habit. Men control their wives. Wives control their husbands. Husbands and wives control their children. It is what we've been taught. A lot of that control is done through the manipulation of emotions, mental state, and guilt. It goes on and on. I don't need to tell you that. We need to create a newer model. That model is mutual power. This is where we move the object of each and every one person into self-respect and into a place of leadership. We then share leadership. I am dealing with this myself. I am not cured. I am dealing with the same issues just like you. The power over model has not worked. It hasn't worked at all. Relationships all over the planet are dysfunctional. Governments are dysfunctional. Communities are dysfunctional. People are homeless and starving. People are being enslaved. People are still being killed because of their faith and religion. People are being destroyed by genocide. People are being starved on purpose. People are being dislocated from their homes and countries because of oil. This is all the power over model. It isn't working. Again, this all comes back to opportunity. We have a frequency change coming. Our focus will determine our reality. I don't want to live in this tyranny. I absolutely don't. In fact, this issue of tyranny is what brought the Andromedans to Earth in the first place from the future. Those of you that know the information have seen it there. They came back from the future because tyranny suddenly shows up everywhere in the galaxy. So, being the responsible people that they are, they send out many of their spacecraft, time-traveling, hopping through space and time to try and find out what happened. Where did this occur? They traced it back to our present time in 22 different solar systems within the galaxy. For some reason there was a shift in the polarization of the consciousness in these 22 different systems. So, there is even more to us than what we already know or can imagine. Again, we are taking baby steps here. Anyway, that is what brought them here in the first place. Whatever happens here has an effect everywhere, now and in the future. Wherever it goes it has an effect. So, we have to be responsible. We have to keep going after this 10%. To try to figure out some way, some mechanism of being able to accommodate the shift of consciousness that is coming. People are to freak. They are really going to freak. They are not only going to freak about the ET thing, but also losing their rights, control, and being implanted with chips. This isn't conspiracy anymore. This technology exists. Most of you already know this. It's already being implemented in some places. It is coming, and it is not for the betterment of humanity. It is ownership. I have about 20 minutes. I want to take some questions if that is all right. Question 1. The forces of light and the forces of darkness. Can you speak to the unity that is within them or the lack of unity? Answer. My understanding from the Andromedans is that there is a polarization going on in the universe, definitely a polarization. Is the unity evenly balanced 50-50ths? I don't know that. There is more light than dark. But, nonetheless, there is a polarization. The fact that they are polarized means that they are digging in. The forces of light are becoming more and more compelled to help, to free, to give others an opportunity, and to protect themselves. The forces of dark are digging in to control and hold on to what they have. Unfortunately, we are in a solar system at the edge of our galaxy and we have attracted a bad crowd. It is a gorgeous planet and an incredible solar system, but we have a bad element here, a real bad element. We are going to have to do some of the work on our own. Adding to your question, I'm 100% sure that there is going to be intervention of some sort. But nobody said anything about saving us. We are going to have to do some of the work ourselves, all of us. I'm not saying, and I want to be clear about this, I am not saying that you need to drop down on your knees and say, "Oh Andromeda, save us." I am not saying that at all. In fact, I don't want you to do that. That is the last thing I want you to do. What I would like you to do is in your meditations, in your prayers, in your trances, whatever you do that works for you, that helps you create your own reality is this. Focus on this circle/cross. This is the symbol for Earth. Project this symbol as far out into the universe as you can with a declaration from you. Please give us the knowledge and the wisdom for our highest good, to overcome the challenges that we have. You can put in your own words any way you want. Folks, I will tell you from own, we absolutely need help. I'm not sure that we are going to get the 10%. Ask for help for our highest good, whomever you want to talk to, even if you don't specifically mention a race. Just project out there, that I am a member of Earth and we need help, and only if you can help for our highest good. The ultimate goal here is freedom. That is where all the roads need to lead to, is freedom, so that we have complete self-determination. We are a race and not the property of anybody else. We aren't and shouldn't believe that we are. Would anyone want to believe that they are the property of anybody else? You can only give your power away if you give it away. There are plenty of people who will take your power away if they can convince you to give it up. That has happened, it absolutely has happened. I'm at the point now where I am really worried about us. That is why I am back after my 2-year sabbatical. You have no idea how I hate doing this. This is no picnic. I am in the same boat that all of you are in, and those that follow this information that aren't here tonight. In the end, we are all fighting for each other. I'm a fighter. I'm a rebel. I'm a pain in the ass. I know that some of you here are pains in the ass also. Question 2. Do you know who specifically put the devices under Jerusalem that controls the grid system? Answer. It was the ancient Lyrians when they colonized this part of the galaxy. They kept moving through the galaxy. They migrated out of Lyra because of a war. What they would do would find certain planetary systems that had minerals, resources, water, and things that they needed. They would then try to stabilize those planetary systems using technology that they had. They would then go in, mine and pull out the resources they needed. They would continue their building mining equipment and spacecraft. They needed to stabilize the solar system so that they could extract the minerals, which also meant they had to live there for a while, setting up colonies. That is why there are so many ruins on so many of our moons and planets. A lot of this will come out in the AC39 series. Question 3. You spoke of the 22 different planetary systems. Are they all in this dimension? Answer. They are all in this density and all in this galaxy. Question 4. Is there a vortex that can be used for time travel in Afghanistan? And is that the real reason why we are over there? Answer. I do not know if that is a factor or not. I know that none of the planetary governments on Earth are not being allowed to time travel. All the doors have been shut down. It was so abused. They were going back and trying to change the past to create a different future. Like another Nazi Germany. Not only that, there were other ET races to use those time portals to go to other places in the galaxy to change realities, their time travel. Then there is the other story, because they want to build a pipeline through Afghanistan into Europe. That's all I know. Question 5. Are the royal families aware that their roots are Nibirian and aware that they are coming back in? Answer. They are absolutely aware of it. It is no accident that most of the crop circles are in England. Remember, the lineage always follows the mother. You always know who the mother is, you don't always know who the father is. Question 6. About 3 years ago you made a statement that all the ETs on the planet had to be off by 2003. Is that still an accurate statement? Answer. August 12, 2003, to my knowledge that has not changed. Question 7. Is it not a coincidence that on that same date, August 12, 1943, is when the Philadelphia experiment took place and that the USS Eldridge went through a time portal and is supposed to return on August 12, 2003? Answer: that ought to be fun, huh? Laughter from audience: I was not aware of that. This is fascinating. Where is it supposed to land? Manhattan. More laughter from audience. Question 8. The Christian right, the strong, hard, and conservatives, would do everything they could to stop the global government. Answer: I'm still counting on that. No matter what your belief is on a religious or spiritual basis, the same issue is freedom. Do we surrender our freedoms? That is the issue. That is a very big concern because it is going to take the wind right out of them. If it does, we need to figure out a way, create a mechanism to get them back into the concept whether this is a reality or not. The same issue that we all have to deal with: freedom, self-responsibility, and self-rule. That is the bottom line issue, no matter what. We are all going to need to stand together for that. I know that there are an awful lot that are just going to sit on their ass, watch CNN, and wait for Jesus to come and save them. What happens if he doesn't do it? Suppose it a gray or a draconian that come out of the clouds to enslave as opposed to save. I don't know how this whole thing is going to play out. They are going to want answers and it is going to fall back on us. All of us here have done the advanced research and that have the wisdom to help move them along. Question 9. If what I understand now is impacting the future, this is more important in the here and now for us to do something, because I don't think it would be better for those of us who reincarnate to come back into a future paradigm that's worse and more entrenched. Answer: a Hosier. That's exactly right. Who would want to do that? Not only that, but it does affect other races as well. The 22 other planetary systems is an issue that I wanted to deal with in the series. The whole series is being designed to give you the entire history of the planet Earth, most of the galaxy, and our races. Who we are. Who the Chinese were, are their roots. What is the root of the red race, the Native Americans, of the Aryans, the black race, and all the different races. Where do they come from? It's interesting that some people still hold to the theory that we all came from one cell. As that cell continued to multiply, that same cell, which is a copy of the master, suddenly became a brain cell, a liver cell, or a kidney cell. One even became an elephant. How did that happen if it is a copy of the same cell? If you really look at all the bullshit that they have fed us, it just doesn't hold water at all. It couldn't possibly have happened that way at all. Question 10. What is the underlying story about Yeshua or Jesus? Was he not of the human lineage, or the Anunnaki, or of the Nibiruane? Answer: I am not going to answer that question. I don't even want to go there. I have gotten so much flack and so many threats for answering that kind of question. That information and what I have been told by the Andromedans about that particular personage is available on the website and in the book. You can download the book for free off the internet, it's there. But, I will say this, that according to the Andromedans, that the person in the New Testament known as Jesus is a composite character. So it could be that if Jesus does come to save us, there could be 4 or 5 of them. Question 11. What about the children being born into the world known as indigo or psychic? Answer: I think that all children are pretty much psychic, because they have their imagination and they haven't been shut down. As far as the term indigo children, I have not specifically addressed that question with the Andromedans. I don't know why they're called indigo children. Some say they come from an indigo Collier band. I don't really know that. But, what I can tell you is that children that have come into the world since the late 70s have remarkable gifts. Many of the children born in the last 10 years do in fact have triple DNA. 3 strands of DNA, which means that they will be able to move with the frequency better. Moroni did tell me, again this is on the website, that there are many children today that will be moving into another frequency and back. They will be able to dimensional travel back and forth to help us in our transition. They will be telling us what is there, what to expect, and how we can move through there. Many of them are in fact old souls. I am not going to use the term angels. I am not going to use the term masters. I asked that question of Visayas one time on masters. He asked me what the definition of master was. I said that on our planet the definition was one who has perfected themselves. He just shook his head and said that there was no perfection. What is perfection? There would have to be perfection in order to be perfect. Then, if there was perfection, there would be no evolution. So, I think we ought to try and stop trying to be perfect. Maybe that's not what it is all about after all. Maybe that was just a goal, or the carrot placed in front of us to confound, confuse, and drive us crazy. We'll never get there. In the meantime, we are missing all the other good stuff because we are all trying to get this carrot. We are paying attention to all the gifts that we already have. Perfection means something different to each of us. Question 12. When the planet Nibiru moves through our solar system, how will it affect the Earth? Answer. It will not only affect Earth, but the entire solar system. It can't help it. A hypothetical situation, if something was to hit and destroy Mars, our solar system would have to shift to adjust to the harmonics and gravitational pull around the Sun. Depending on the extreme, and because the Andromedans talked about this because this has happened in the past. There had been times when planetary-sized asteroids have moved through a solar system that they have changed the gravitational fields and the harmonics so much that planets on the outside of that particular system have literally floated out into space. They then become a rogue planet. They just lose their gravitational hold around their star and just float away until they run into another star system, usually creating havoc. Question 13. The devices under Jerusalem, are they connected to the pyramids of Giza, Teotihuacan, and other places? Answer. The device under Jerusalem is connected to all sacred spots, all of them, they are all connected. The purpose of them all being connected, I don't know. I don't know what it does when they are connected, switch on or switch off. I honestly don't know that. But, there's a system that controls the Earth's grid system. Question 14. You mentioned, our intent is what we create. It is really important, as difficult as it is, because Christians are putting energy into Armageddon. They feel that they want this to happen because then their Jesus will come and they'll all be beamed up. As difficult as this is, we all must help these Christians understand the Bible and Jesus. Answer. You were right. I have been fighting that battle for years. I am more than happy to pass the baton on to you. Uproarious laughter from the audience. That is a battle. Again, you can only lead a horse to the water, that is all you can do. If a question comes up, I stand in my truth. If people ask me if I am a Christian, I deal with the question direct. It hasn't made me that many friends in the Christian community. We'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds. I'll have the tools to help them roll with the punches and move into a different direction in the cause of freedom, self-respect, raising our own children, and doctrinal teachings. The indoctrinations are tough. It has been indoctrinated for over 1500 years and people are not just going to let it go. It's habit and addiction like anything else. We'll just have to see what happens. Question 15. Your comments and thoughts on the Nibiruan representation on the Andromedan Council. Answer. I don't really know that much. I do know that something happened with their relationship with the Draconian Empire out of Alpha Draconis. There was something that happened there. I do know for a fact that the Nibiru still have a seat on the Orion Council. But, something happened with the Draconian Empire, the hardcore reptilians, the Chiakar, the royal line of the reptilian lineage. They are the 20-tall reptilian race with winged appendages. They are the classic devil picture that we've seen. They are definitely a race to reckon with. Apparently, a portion of the Andromedan Council felt that they were trustworthy enough to be on the council and were given permission to re-enter the solar system. I know that the Andromedans, the Pleiadians, the Procyon, those from Sirius, Cygnus Alpha, and several others strongly oppose it because of trust factors. Councils are like the UN, it's a democracy. The majority rules. That's where it is at. Time will tell all of us what is going to happen. I'm not Nostradamus, I don't know. Question 16. Do you know anything about a meditation that is happening on this day to pull in a frequency to the crystalline structure of the planet to help absorb some of the stress that the tectonic plates are under or are experiencing? Answer. I don't know anything about that. I didn't get that single quote email. Audience laughter. Question 17. Do you think we should take things a step further to educate the population as to what is really going on? To get together into groups to try to change the reality by changing the picture. Make the picture a positive one and the whole outcome. To get into groups of light workers. People can still put out a lot of fear. Answer. You were absolutely right. Are you volunteering to do that? On your way out leave your address, phone #, single quote email. I'll tell what I'll do. I'll volunteer to do the first groups, and I will even bring a snack. Audience laughter. Because of pressure and threats, our website has been closed down. But there are links to mirror sites that are in Australia, Canada, and I believe that there are others coming up in America as well as Europe. People have volunteered themselves and their own money to create these mirror sites so that the information can stay up. We had to shut down the United States site. I'll let your imagination figure out the rest. Question 18. The violet ray that neutralizes implants are becoming very hard to come by. Websites no longer carry them. Answer. The Tesla lied. We have a source. I don't know what their stock situation is. I'll talk to John and we'll have it posted on the website, hopefully in 4 or 5 days. It works. It works like a charm. It also heals the body. Some of my coworkers see me using it at the office. Thank you all for coming out and spending your Saturday evening with me. Aho.